Hi everybody, thanks for watching this video. Today I'd like to do a video about how to use Kontakt and Omnisphere or Keyscape within MainStage, and maybe on how to do it more cleverly than the default way of doing things. So basically, let's have a look. I wanted to have a concert with a set using my most preferred pianos, so acoustic and electric pianos, and for that I had the Kontakt Galaxy Vienna Yamaha and the Scarby Mark I and Scarby A200 as electric pianos coming from Kontakt, and then I have the acoustic piano and the Keyscape piano, the electric piano coming from Keyscape, or as we will see from Omnisphere. So basically these are my 6 preferred instruments that I want to use in live during my gig, and I will show you the default way of doing that, and maybe a little bit more clever way to do that. So let's start with an empty concert, and let's do the standard way of creating patches in MainStage. So let's start by doing a plus here and creating first a new set, and maybe name this pianos, and then we create a new patch. Right, so okay, now obviously I have created a patch, so let's say that this is my Galaxy Vienna, and for that I will create here a new software instrument, and let's say for the moment, for sake of simplicity, I will use output 1 and create one. Okay, so I'm creating now a new patch with a new channel strip as an instrument, and now I'm going to use here my Kontakt-instrument in stereo, and obviously I will load here using my quick load. I will load my Galaxy Vienna, and then here I have different versions, so let's say I take the standard one. Okay, and now I have my Galaxy. All right, so next thing, I will create another patch, right? And maybe I will create now with channel strip, and again software instrument, output 1, 2 to simplify it, and let's do that. And this one will be the Galaxy Vienna, sorry, Yamaha. Okay, for that I choose again my AU instruments, native instruments, Kontakt, stereo, and I choose again using my quick load. I use my Galaxy Steinway, or for that matter, let's say that's a Steinway, the standard Steinway. Okay, and let's rename that one. It's not the Yamaha, it's the Steinway. Okay. All right, simple enough, right? So when I'm here on this patch, I'm loading an instance of Kontakt with Vienna. And when I'm here, I'm loading another instance of Kontakt with Galaxy. All right, so that's the standard way of doing it. So I have two instances of Kontakt. I have also my activity monitor, and see here how much memory I'm using. So with these two instances, as you can see, the memory pressure is okay. I have using 8.36 gigabytes, and I'm swapping very little memory here. As you can see, I have obviously nothing running instead except MainStage and of OBS to record my screen. I have my monitor here, and of course I have also to check my sound card. I have here my mixer. All right, so that's how you can do it, and as long as you have only two patches, that's probably the easiest way to do it. Okay, so but now let's assume that instead of loading each time an instance of Kontakt with one single instrument, as you know, a Kontakt can be a multi-instrument. So I could load in one single instance the two instruments, Galaxy Vienna and Galaxy Steinway, and then I would use basically the same footprint in concerning memory, but I would have only one instance of Kontakt, which might spare some resources of my computer, right? So let's try to do that. I will delete this one here, and now I will go here and load my Kontakt, and now as a second instrument I will load within the same same instance of Kontakt. I will load now my Steinway, right? Simple enough. But now it starts to be a little bit difficult. What happens on my patch level if I am playing now this patch? As you can see, I'm playing the Vienna and not the Galaxy. So how can I do? How can I set it up so that I can play in a second patch, for example, the Steinway? So the first trick, I didn't know how to do that, is actually how to set up a multi-instrument within a single patch, right? So how to address, because if I look here, I see that my MIDI channel is the one, and for that one my MIDI channel is 2. So I should be able to address the second one by addressing the MIDI 2 if I want to play my Steinway, or the MIDI 1 if I want to play my Vienna. And this is not so easy. I googled quite a lot until I found the trick here. And the trick is actually that here in the input you have to select here multi-timbral instrument, okay? And that's pretty fundamental. So you see I have one keyboard here, whatever keyboard is connected to my computer, and then here I can select my channel, my MIDI channel. So let's say I'm selecting here 2, and then now in the same instance of Kontakt, if I look here, when I play now, you see that my Steinway is playing. So basically I can do a patch, and by selecting in the multi-timbral MIDI, I can then choose which of the two instruments I want to play. Fine, but how do I now create a second patch here where I can kind of just switch between the two instruments, so selecting channel 1 and channel 2 within the same Kontakt instance? So basically one of the tricks you have to know is that to spare resources, you have to create what is called here you copy, and then you have here paste as alias, right? So this is important because this is kind of just pointing to your original, right? And here now what you do is you go here, you do copy and do here what is called the paste alias, right? And as you will see, we have now created here an alias, and you see this with this arrow, and this arrow kind of points to the original one, right? So I don't need this one, sorry. Okay, so I have my original here and I have my alias here. So what I can do now is, of course, if I'm here, I go into my MIDI, right? I select my multi-timbral and I say, okay, in channel 1, so MIDI 1, I have my Vienna, and now I'm going to my second patch, select my channel, MIDI input, multi-timbral, and here I'm selecting 2. So now if I open my instance of Kontakt, I'm now on Galaxy Vienna, and you see that I'm playing my Vienna because it's on channel 2 and my multi-timbral here is set to 2, right? Okay, cool. So now if I go here, same thing, I'm playing the Vienna. Why? Because here I have channel 1 and my, let me select, you have always to select again the channel strip. If you go to MIDI, multi-timbral, and you have to press again multi-timbral, you have now channel 1, right? So now you have created 2 patches using one single instance of Kontakt, referenced using the mechanism of aliases, using the multi-timbral MIDI input to address the 2 different instruments within the same instance of Kontakt. If we look now at our memory pressure, that's how it looks like, and you see the MainStage is using most of the memory, but we have a little bit less pressure on the memory than we had before, and CPU wise, as we can see, we're on very low strain, because we have about 15%. By the way, this is MacBook Pro 14-inch with the binned version of the CPUs with 16 gigabytes of RAM. Okay, so with this principle, let's continue, and let's assume that for each of this piano, I would like to have some kind of pads, you know, added, playing in parallel, or, you know, layered to my pianos. So what would I do? Well, if I take it from Kontakt, I would maybe load a Kontakt instance or instrument. Here I loaded the Retro Machine Mini Sync, and obviously I need to now address channel 3, but I would like to address channel 3 and, for example, in this case of Galaxy, also channel 2. So how do I do that? This is done using the same trick as before, by going to multi-timbral, and now I can add as another keyboard instance. Here I can add, in addition to output 2, right, to MIDI channel 2, which is my Galaxy Vienna, I can now add MIDI 3, which is now my pad sound, right? So now if I play, okay, same here. If I have only piano, right? Let's say I want to add here also my pad sound. I go here to Multi-Timbre, and for the moment I have only channel 1. So let's add here keyboard 1 and add channel 3 here. And now if I look at my Kontakt instance, when I play a note, I have my Vienna and I have my synth Retro Machines 3-pad playing in parallel. So that's how you can address several instruments within the same Kontakt instrument. Of course, I could also play the 2 pianos, right? By adding, if I want to play the 2 pianos, then I would maybe create another patch, again, edit copy, and then I go here and I say edit, paste this alias, right? And then I say Galaxy. Both, right? And then in my again Multi-Intrument, now I'm selecting channel 1 and 2, and now if I play both pianos. So let's just show the 2 pianos so we can see that both are playing. Alright, so that's how you can have layers playing several instruments within the same Kontakt. Okay, let's go one step further, and you know, we have now a multi-instrument setup with one instance of Kontakt. But as you know, Kontakt is not only a multi-instrument, but it's also a multi-output instrument. So the question is, it might be a good idea to have each of the instruments in my Kontakt here to have a different output, and to actually see these outputs here in my patch. But as you can see here, I have no way to actually add some kind of channels here within the instance of the Kontakt. Basically, it's important that you open Kontakt as a multi-output instrument. So let's do that here. I add here again a new patch with a channel strip, and I use a software instrument. So far so good. All right, and I now call this one here Kontakt Multi-Out, for Kontakt Multi-Out, and I put this one at the end. All right, so here is now the trick. You go here and go again AU Instruments, native Kontakt, and now you see here for the other instances I opened the stereo here, but what you have to do is to open a multi. For example, let's take here the 16 times stereo, and you will see now what's happening. Okay, he opens the VOST, so the Kontakt, but let's close that for the moment. But you see here now that you have the possibility of this plus, and that's exactly what the multi-output variant of the Kontakt allows, right? You can add channels here. So look at the difference here. I have a plus because it's a multi-output instance or variant of Kontakt, look here, I don't have this plus, right? So this is the way how I can add different channels. And for example, if I do that, and I could route my my piano to one channel, and for example my pad to the other channel strip, I could maybe also change the volume of each of these using the mixer of MainStage, or I could also use different for example processing for the pad than for the piano. So if I add here plus, you see that he opens another channel strip, but now with Kontakt 3 and 4. Okay, so to find a little bit out how this works, let's rename this channel strip so we're not confused. So we want to have here the let's say the Vienna Vienna, and I want to have here the pad, right? Okay, so how do I set up this now in Kontakt? Obviously, as you can see, if I open here, I have no instances of instruments. All right, I could start, using again, going here and selecting my Galaxy and so on and so forth. But maybe there's a clever way, and the clever way is to go here and actually open this instance, right? Because now it's really a different instance for shared among these three patches. But here I have my multi, so I have my two pianos and I have my sweep pad. So what I can do here is to save this as a multi, right? Save multi as, and I can say I can save this as a multi-instrument of Kontakt. So let's do that. I call this one Galaxies plus pad. Okay, now let's go in on our multi-out and open Kontakt, and now here I go to my disk icon, right? And for example, I can just say load recent because I just stored it from the other instance. I can load this one. So now I have again my two pianos and my pad. Great. So now what I need to do also, and you have to select each output of different output, so not a different channel here, but a different output for each of these instruments, so that you can find them here then in your MainStage mixer. And there's a nice way. First of all, you have to go to the outputs. There's a nice way here to use the batch function, and you see here you have the what is called the clear output section and create one individual channel for each loaded instrument. So that means that Kontakt will create 3 stereo channels, output channels, for each of the instrument that is loaded in this multi. Okay, and you see now that in my output I have here on channel 1, 2, so first stereo channel I have my Vienna, on the second stereo channel I have my Galaxy, and on the third stereo channel I have my mini synth. Okay, so now what I can do here, if I come back, I can now add here, right? First of all, I have again to go here to my MIDI and say that this is a multi. It's a multi, and my multi is actually first Galaxy and second, so let's take the keyboard, the second is then channel 3, MIDI channel 3, which is my And you see, I play both sounds because both MIDI channels are addressed. But I don't have my synth coming out yet on my synth channel here, right? Kontakt 3 and 4. So let's check again. And as you can see, if we go to the output here, my synth is coming on 5/6, right? So what I need to do here is to select 5/6. Instrument 5/6. And you see that if I mute here, now that's nice. I can mute now completely the synth. Or I can mute my piano and hear only my synth, but on different channels. And obviously what I can do now is I can, you know, mix the two instruments using two different channels in my mixer, which is very nice. All right, so let's say I would like to have the same, but instead of my Vienna, now with my Steinway, right? So you should know by now how to do that. You go to Edit, Copy, and then you do Edit, Paste as Alias, right? Okay. So again, we are having this original channel, and we see that it's used here. Okay. So now what I have to do is here go to multi-timbral and change my first piano to channel 2. And now if I open, and the nice thing is I can open Kontakt from any of my aliases. So let's open here. And now I should have actually my Galaxy and my synth playing. Correct. So let's call this one Vienna, Steinway, and this one okay. And the nice thing is I can have now different settings for each of these, because these are different patches. So I can have this one here. I can change the setting independently of this one. So this is not only the way to have patches playing different instruments within the same Kontakt instance, but also to be able, you know, the mix between the instruments within the same Kontakt instance on my MainStage mixer. Okay, let's do as a last one a patch which plays all the all our instruments in the Kontakt Multi, with all channels being displayed and being able to you know, set the volume in the mixer. So, you know, we go here again, we do the copy, and then we do Edit, Paste as Alias, and let's call this one All. Plus pad. Actually, it's not Vienna, it's Scala. Right, so, okay. First, what we have to do is go to multi-timbral. And be aware that you need to press twice here. You have to first select it and then again press it, right? So, okay, let's go here and select keyboard 2 and then another one with 3. So we have 1, 2, 3, right? we should now play actually all three instruments. And as we can see, we have output on all three channels. All right, what we need to do now is here add one channel more here, and select here the instrument 3/4. So let's call this one Gala Stein, right? So now if I play, I can mute, let's mute the as you can see, and obviously I could process each of these instruments differently, you know, by sending, for example, to different reverb, or you know, adding any other plugin for each of these. So that's how you can actually do without adding more strain, right, and more memory pressure. You can have all these different variants. So only Galaxy with pad, only Steinway with pad, or all three with all three instruments, both Galaxies and the pad, as patches, right? Without, you know, each time loading Kontakt instance and loading all three instruments. It's the same instrument, same memory load, and as you can see, if we go to the GPU, it's absolutely no problem at all, and you have still very less memory being used. Actually, you can see here the memory also on the Kontakt. The nice thing is, if I wanted now to change my patch, for example, from this mini sync to this taped lead, right? Right? So if I go here, I have again both piano. Okay, so that's one way of doing it, by really using the same memory load. So I have basically 6 patches with 2 times 3 instruments on 2 instances of Kontakt, but I'm using only this amount of memory, as you can see. So I have no pressure at all. I have almost no swap. Let's use the same principle now using another multi-timbral instrument, for example Omnisphere. So I want to have 2 different acoustic and electro pianos from the Keyscape instrument. And the way to use these 2 instruments in the same instance is to actually use Omnisphere as a host in that sense. Okay, so let's do that. Here we create a new patch with channel strip. We select the software instrument and create it. And let's call this one the Keyscape A acoustic piano, right? We have our channel strip here. Let's go and select the corresponding Spectrasonic Omnisphere, and here again the multi output and not the stereo version of this instrument. And as you can see, we get now here the plus sign, right, which allows us to create additional channels with the same instance. In Omnisphere we go to a multi here, and that's where you have kind of, you know, the hosting of several instruments within the same Omnisphere instance. So let's go here and first take an acoustic piano here, and let's take the C7. All right? And then here you see you have the output A or output B. So these are different outputs of the different instruments within the multi-instruments of Omnisphere. So let's go here and select electronic pianos from the list here, and let's take the Rhodes custom, go back into the multi, and now we see that we have in channel 1 output A, and in channel 2 output B we have the acoustic and electronic or electric pianos. So that's all we have to set up here in Omnisphere. And now if I play, I have my acoustic piano played because it's the first slot, and the first slot is automatically routed to the MIDI channel 1. Okay, so to make it a little bit more nice, I can go here and go to attributes and change here my keyboards to an acoustic piano. So I see now I have my channel with the corresponding instrument. Alright, so now let's go here and do the same trick again. Copy and then paste this alias. And now what we have to do here is to create a second channel, right? Let's just clean up this one to have a nice overview that this one is the electric piano, right? So let's call it different. So keyscape E piano, and let's call this one keyscape acoustic piano. Alright, so now what we have to do, and by the way we see here the alias, right? What you have to do, you have to go here, you have to go to input. As usual, we take the multi-timbre, and now from keyboard 2, if we want to have only the electro piano, we change it to 2. And so now I'm playing my electro piano on a separate channel. Alright, so if I go here, I have my acoustic piano from Omnisphere, and here I have my electro piano. Okay, same thing. If I want to have both instruments played simultaneously, I do again from the original, do a copy, and then again paste as alias. Let's put this one lower, and here KS/E piano, right? Then I go here, select MIDI input, keyboards, multi-timbre, and now I assign 2 keyboards to channel 1 and channel 2. And as usual, now if I play, see, I play both instruments because I have addressed both MIDI channel 1 and 2. And if I want to have different channels, drips for each instrument, again I add here a second instrument and have to select the correct output here, 3, 4, and just clean up a little bit this one to show that it's my E piano, and I rename is KS E piano. And now I'm playing the 2 instruments simultaneously, and can obviously change the volume of each one. More electro piano. Alright, so same principle, and if we look now at the memory pressure, obviously we got a little bit higher but we still have very low swap memory. And concerning the CPU, as we see, the CPU is very low. It's around 17%. So we are good there. And now I can of course change to my So that's how you do it with Omnisphere. Obviously I can add an additional channel in Omnisphere. Here I can go and add in the third channel some kind of pad, and then I have 2 instruments or 3 instruments multi-instrument in one Omnisphere instance. So this is how you can set up your MainStage using multi-timbre instruments. I hope this video was useful for you, and if you like it, please press the buttons up, and I see you in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching.